Hello student, identify this diagram. I hope that you all could identify this. Have you? Now, you are those who have done, it's correct. It's a diagrammatic view of female reproductive system. So, today I will start with the female reproductive system in human. In earlier lecture I have already done the male. In this I will start with the female. Female is not as simple as male. It is bit complex as well as bit elaborative. So I will be completing this topic in 2 to 3 videos. Now let's start with the system, the organ which are involved in the reproductive system. Now female reproductive system consisting of a pair of ovary, a pair of oviduct, a uterus, vagina, external genitalia which is also called as vulva, pair of vestibular gland and a pair of mammary gland. Though this mammary gland is a secondary sexual character, but it is associated with the reproduction, so obviously I will be including it. But if at all a question comes, describe the structure or describe the process of female reproduction, then you will be explaining only up till the vagina. And these are secondary character or up till the, depending upon the marks, up till vagina it will be considered. Anyway, in this recording I also will try to complete it up till vagina. In the next recording I will be completing the rest of the part. Okay, now again focus it on the diagram because diagram will help you in understanding. The first part, as I have said you, is the ovary, pair of ovary, 1, 2. So it's a pair of ovary. Then again accessory duct, which are actually उसमें बहुत सारा आता है, pair of oviduct, uterus, vagina, all three are called as accessory duct. Now here a pair of oviduct. First, a pair of oviduct. This is 1, this is 2 on either side. Then this is a uterus. Then next one is vagina. This is vagina. Okay, we'll start with one by one. Ovary. So this, you can see the ovary here. Now it is a primary female sex organ. It produces egg or the ovum as well as a hormone required. Now the nature wise it is solid, oval or almond shaped. The measurement wise, the length of the ovary is approximate 3 cm, breadth of the ovary is 1.5 cm and the thickness is 1 cm. The location of the ovary is, it is located in the upper part of the pelvis near kidney. Now each ovary is held in position by a ligament attaching it to the uterus as well as the abdominal body wall. You can see this one ligament is very clear visible here. So this ligament is called as ovarian ligament. This is called as ovarian ligament. It is attaching the ovary to the uterus. At the same time they are attached to the body wall also. Clear? Now the ovary produces 5. This ovary produces, beside ova, it also produces 5 types of hormone. What are they? Estrogen, progesterone, relaxin, activin and inhibin. See, I am repeating. 5. Beside ova, it also produces hormone. And the 5 hormone which are estrogen, progesterone, relaxin, activin and inhibin. Now the internal structure of the ovary we'll see, which is also called as a histology. So internal structure may I am not going in detail, student. You will have to read the book also. Now each ovary, see, you can see the shape of the ovary. It is oval. Clear? See here, I have just taken a section of this side, oval. So this ovary actually is covered by a thin germinal epithelium. This layer you can see, this is a germinal epithelium layer. Okay, inside it is enclosing the stroma. अंदर जो भी है उसको stroma बोलते हैं. Now the stroma is divided into 2 zones. Internal zone, this is called as central zone, called as medulla. इसको क्या बोलते हैं? Medulla. And outer cortical zone. The medulla is having loose connective tissues and it is highly vascularized because it has a blood vessels, it has a nerve fiber, it has a lymph vessels. Okay, now the cortical region is compact, granular and having the different stages of follicle development. Follicles are developing or ova development different stages of ova development. You can see here, you can see this, and these are the follicles which are developing and undergoing into change. Right? See, the initial stage, this follicle is called as a primordial follicle, then it gets converted into primary, then secondary, then tertiary, then mature follicle, which is also called as a Graafian follicle. Then it releases the egg. This is actually a Graafian follicle releasing the egg, and this follicle is called as ovulation period. This is the ovulation time. Then after ovulation, they are getting retrieved, and if the fertilization takes place, they again develop and forms this structure called as a corpus luteum and releases the hormone. If the fertilization is not taking place, they start degenerating and they remain in the form of a scar and called as a corpus albicans. Now, if you see the diagram, the first day of the menstrual cycle, then 12th day of the menstrual cycle, and the ovulation takes place generally in between 12th and the 14th day of the cycle. Okay, now what that menstrual cycle is and how these change, the ovaries and primordial follicle is undergoing into change, or we will study under the oogenesis. Okay, now the second part is this oviduct, a pair of oviduct, which is also called as a fallopian tube. Now these are pair of tube or duct lying horizontally over the peritoneal cavity or over the uterus. Each tube has two ends, one this end and the other end this. This is called as a proximal end, which is closer to the ovary, and the other end, which is called as a distal end, and it opens into this is a distal end and it is opening into the uterus. This tube is 10 to 12 centimeter long, narrow, muscular, and internally it is lined by ciliated epithelium. अंदर की तरफ ciliated epithelium होता है. The function of this fallopian tube is to transport the ova after ovulation from ovary, यहाँ से to transport the ova from ovary to the uterus. Each fallopian tube, this tube has three parts. This is one part, this is second part, and this is the third region. Now this part is called as the infundibulum. See here it is labeled infundibulum. It is a proximal funnel-like part with an opening ostium. इसके अंदर एक opening होता है, which is called as ostium. The ostium is surrounded by, or the rim of the infundibulum has finger-like projection called as fimbriae. The movement of this fimbria as well as the cilia which is inside helps in catching the egg or the ovum when it is released out during the ovulation from the ovary, and then it is transported inside the tube through the ciliary movement. Now this is a second zone, long tube, ampulla. It is a middle long straight part of the oviduct, Okay, this is a region in the ampulla. The ova gets fertilizes. Ovum get fertilizes. So place of fertilization is ampulla. Last one is system. It is a distal narrow part of the duct opening into the uterus. यहाँ पे ये uterus में open हो रहा है. Now next is the uterus. Uterus is this. This is a whole uterus, student. This is a whole uterus. It is also called as womb. It is single, pear-shaped, highly muscular, having a thick wall. See the thickness, the thick wall. It is hollow inside, and the measurement of this uterus is, the length is 7.5 centimeter, the width is 5 centimeter, and the thickness is 2.5 centimeter. It is located in between the rectum. From behind, see this is a lateral view, this is a rectum. So it is located in between the rectum and the urinary bladder. Behind actually is the rectum, and in front it is a urinary bladder. So it is lodged in between this region, and the location of body wise, this is a pelvic cavity. It is attached to the body wall by a double fold of बॉडी वॉल से ये अटैच कैसा होता है, पेरिटोनियम का फोल्ड होता है, पेरिटोनियम से कर रहा है डबल फोल्ड ऑफ पेरिटोनियम, एंड दैट इज कॉल्ड द mesometrium or a broad ligament. Okay, now each uterus has a three part. Upper part, this is upper part called as a fundus. It is a dome shape. Normally implantation of embryo occurs in this region, fundus. Second is called as this region is called as a body. body part of the uterus, it is gradually tapering. Body is broader upper side, but it gets tapering or narrow होते जाता है down होने के साथ में, gradually down. The lower part, this part is called as a cervix. It is a long cylindrical tube. You can see this is a long cylindrical tube. It has a two opening. One, it is opening this side. The other one, it is opening into the vagina. This is called as the internal os. This is called as the external os. Now the next part is, wall of the, next is wall of the uterus. The wall of the uterus is, as I have told you, having a three layer. The outer layer is called as the perimetrium, the middle layer is called as the myometrium, and inner layer is called as the endometrium. Perimetrium is the outermost layer and it is protective in nature. Middle layer is very thick, having a smooth muscles, and it plays a very crucial role during the parturition or during the birth of the child. This muscles here, smooth muscles, undergoes into contraction and causes labor. Labor or puts a pressure, contraction, it puts a pressure on the fetus to expel out through this opening. Now endometrium is the innermost mucosal layer. It is made up of stratified epithelium. This layer undergoes regular change during the menstrual cycle, this innermost layer. It is richly supplied with blood vessels and uterine glands. The function of this endometrium is it nourishes the developing fetus. Now the last part here is the vagina. It is this is a vagina. It is highly distensible and collapsible fibromuscular tube. ये एक tube होता है and highly distensible होता है and collapsible means elastic nature होता है. How balloon actually expands and contracts, same way this is also elastic in nature. And here the cervix open into the vagina. See, cervix open into, it has a two opening. One is this is okay, and the other one is this side. The length of the vagina is 7 to 9 centimeter. It opens into the outside vestibule of vulva. Inside this opening is called as a cervical opening, and here it is vestibule orifice outside. Okay. The vagina wall has three layers: inner mucosal lining, middle muscular, and outer adventitial layer. Okay, the inner mucosal epithelium is stratified and stored. This stratified and it is storing the glycogen. Glycogen को store करता है, right? There are no gland inside the vagina, but it receives a secretion from the cervix. The opening of the vagina in the vestibule, near जो vestibule में opening होता है उसको बोलते हैं vaginal orifice. The opening is partially covered. This outer opening or vaginal orifice is partially covered by a mucous membrane, and that membrane is called as hymen. Now the function of the vagina. It acts as a copulatory passage. It receives the semen during intercourse. Right? It acts as a passage for menstrual flow. Plus it acts as a birth canal during parturition. With this, I am completing the first recording. The next thing I will continue in the next recording.